think you play your game. You go under with a game plan, and whoever's in the rotation, you work those guys because obviously you expect them to come out and be pretty fired up to be playing at home. A lot of those kids are from South Florida, so you go in there with a game plan, and you work your routine, you work your game plan, you work your rotation.
You have a unit that obviously had success last year, putting points on the board. Does that add pressure to you, or are you kind of relish the opportunity to work with those guys?
Oh no, that's no pressure. Can you imagine having a unit that didn't put points on the board? Right? So no, it's no pressure at all. I mean, very blessed to have talented players, and coach and the staff did a great job recruiting guys into this program. But the pressure is never on. Is never on when you have good players.
And last question from me: how would you state the offense going into the first game? Just as one description, where you stand.
Hungry.
Thank you.
Are you where you want it to be at this stage of the preseason with the offense right now?
They're exactly where I want to be on Monday, for a Monday practice, yes. And they got to continue this through the week, all the way to Friday. But yes, sir.
You didn't see Steven live last year, for the most part. How would you describe him now compared to then, progression-wise, either physically, mentally, just?
He's bigger, he's bigger, You really notice, you get to see him throw more balls when you're with him than you do, when you're on another sideline just watching him play. So you get to see, his true arm, strength and his ability. So, it's been great being able to, work with him. He's got a lot of talent.
What has surprised you most about Duke?
Duke, how smart he is and how dedicated he is to doing things right. That's his, you think sometimes a young, talented, football player, that you got to get in there and you got to, make him tough, or you got to push him to be, he pushes himself. So that's been a big plus.
Do you have any concerns with the unit?
Concerns? No, obviously you never want to see injuries. You want guys to go throughout their career, and you want them to reach their potential, and you don't want them to get hurt. So that's the only thing I'm always thinking about is, our guys staying healthy, week in and week out in practice and in game.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Hey, James. Would you like a chance to, it is the first game, and get a lot of players in there if you could, a lot of younger players, even including, let's say, the backup quarterback back up to Duke? Possible.
If possible, right? Our whole mind frame is, we want to work our game plan. We want to be able to go through this game, and obviously FAU's going to come out, fired up. They were 14-14 against Georgia last year. They got a good unit, and they're going to play at home. They're going to be hungry. So our thoughts aren't with rotation, to be honest with you. Our thoughts are, where did you, as a player, where are you right now at camp? Are you in position to be with the starting group? Because the starting group's getting the reps. And if you're not, you're working to get into that starting group. Now as games play on and so forth, obviously you rep your players, but we're repping guys that are competing for that starting job.
Right, but do you get concerned, and they might have asked this before I came, I mean, I know you are favored by 32 points or whatever, and if it does, you happen to be leading by a lot, do you ever worry about injuries and stuff like that to some of the starters?
I always worry about injuries from the first play to the end. I always worry about injuries. So yes, you do rep.
Okay.
Yeah, you do have rotation, but you rep guys that, the other things people don't think about is you want guys in the game that they know what they're doing, because if not, they're gonna get somebody else hurt. So you rep guys that are really into it, that are competing in camp, that are in contention for a starting job. Those are the guys getting the reps.
Coach, how much of this offense is the same as last year, would you say? That you're you're bringing back a lot of starting units and everything like that.
It's exactly the same.
Exactly the same. So you're having to
it's
adjust
different.
completely. Yeah,
Yeah,
of
it's
course.
really
Yeah.
different, But you know what? It's philosophically it's the same. It's a pro style of up tempo offense. You know, so. But it's going to be different, you know, different guy calling it, you know, different guys coaching receiver, you know, we got a different guy coaching the running backs, you know, different guy coaching the tight end. It's going to be different. You know, the last staff, they did a great job, and but they did it their way, you know, and obviously, you know, it worked, but you know, we're going to do it our way because it's going to work also.
We noticed that Chantrell, as someone asked you about Chantrell, was the backup, was the starter last week at right tackle, and he's now the backup. There's no "or" after his name. Can you tell us about the last week at right tackle?
Well, Coach handles all the subbing, but I know what you're. You know, why is he not back? Why is he a backup now, not a starter? You know, we do that all week long. You know, if a guy's out playing another guy, they're gonna move up. But that's all on Coach.
Coach, how important is for coaches to keep their cool in the game? Recently, a coach got caught on national TV at the high school level slapping a coach in the head. But how important is for no matter the
He slapped a coach on the head?
I'm sorry, player.
Oh, okay.
On the helmet at that.
You gotta be really cool then if he slaps you on the head, right?
But you know how important it is for head coaches or any kind of coach to keep their cool with the players.
Yeah, it's important, you know, and you know, you obviously don't want to get caught up in a situation where you're putting your hands on anybody. You don't know the situation, and you don't know the coaches and the players' relationship at that point. You don't know. I mean, you're watching the tail end of what happened, you know, but you don't know their relationship. You don't know how they get after each other. You know, that's the other part you don't know. You always see the oh, look how bad that looked, and it didn't. You know, obviously when you see someone put their hands on someone else, it never looks. But you don't know the relationship between those two guys. You know, they could be really tight, and he knows how to. You know, but you should know. Yeah, I mean, it's very important to keep your cool, and you know, with my size, it's extremely important to keep your cool. So. I don't think you see me doing any of that.
Coach, how important, or how close to reality is the perception that when a team opens with an FAU and has a game team next week that you hide a lot, that you don't put it all out there for display? Does that enter the thinking at all that you hold some stuff back for week 2, week 4, week 6?
You know, and to give you an honest answer, when your livelihood is based on the scoreboard, there's not a lot of stuff you're holding back. Your game plan's big, you know. So it isn't that you're sitting back there and you're looking past the opponent at hand. The opponent at hand is the key, you know. So you don't. But you run different combinations during the season. It doesn't matter who you're playing, you know. So and then later on in the season, you have your self scout and you have your counters off of that within your system. But you know, right now, FAU is our #1 mind frame from the players to the coaches, from everybody who works here in the second floor. But that's our deal. That's our thought. We're not worried about you know, the opponent next week until we get to him.
How does Kevin Olson look? Just wondering.
He's looking good. He's working hard. You know, the speed of the game. Obviously, whenever you come from high school, it's fast. You know, your mechanics have to speed up. Your feet have to speed up. Your thought process has to speed up. So he's now, you know, at a point where you really see his talent. You see him throwing the ball with, you know, very aggressive. You know, the throws are tight because he's starting to have the confidence of, okay, I see it now. You know, and then, you know, he's learning a brand new language and a brand new playbook when he gets in here. So that's causes a little bit of, you know, uncertainty and stuff like that. So but you're starting to see, you know, his ability.
Compared to other athletes, other offenses you've been around in your different stops, you know, how are your expectations for this offense? How, you know, you've seen great offenses before. How does this one compare?
Has all the makeup of doing what the other offenses that I've been around have done and better. You know, now here's how we got to look at it. We got to look at it from game 1 all the way through our last game. That's the difference. It doesn't happen in spurts. It doesn't happen, we're good 2 games and then we're not as good in the 3rd game and we're back to all, shooting on all cylinders on game 4 and 5 and then we're up. No. What makes a great offense is the consistency from game 1 to the end of the season. And they get better. And they get better as the season goes on.
Obviously, right now, all you're working on is potential. You haven't seen them play in the game yet.
Potential.
So for potential, what you've seen as far as potential goes, it's up there with what you've seen before in the past.
Yes. That's, certain positions, yes, absolutely.
Obviously, quarterback, running back, those positions.
Yeah, the offensive line is, very talented. The tight ends are talented. The receivers are young, but they're talented. I say young, you got a kid like, Stacy Coley, who's young, who's contributing, who's extremely talented. But the youth is, eventually he's got to, he's going to hit some walls, and we got to be there to pick him up, and tell him to run through the next wall.
Now that you've been here several months, what impresses you with Duke Johnson? And then also, what kind of, how much enjoyment have you had just trying to figure out ways over the offseason to, get him the ball or just to utilize the most out of what he brings?
It's fun watching him practice. The one thing that surprised me when I got here was how hard he worked, how much he enjoyed playing football. And it's important to him. His football knowledge is off the chart because he works at it.